Hi 6th grade, I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to work on the Unit 5 review. Make sure you have tried to do it on your own and then come back and check your answers, or come back if you are struggling on a certain problem, and this will hopefully help you out. So let's get started. Number 1, write 2 words or phrases that can be used for each operation. Do not use add plus, subtract minus, multiply times, or divide. So the first word that I always use is the answer to one of these problems, what they're called. So the answer to an addition problem is called a sum. The answer to a subtraction problem is called a difference. The answer to a multiplication problem is called a product. And the answer to a division problem is called a quotient. Alright, and then a few other words. Addition means like more, or total would work, or in all. There's so many. Subtraction, less. Okay, multiplication, you'll probably see like in groups of. And then for division, you might see words like equal groups. You're dividing into equal groups. Okay, so those are just a few words that you could use. There are so many, so make sure that if you have other ideas, you use those as well. Number 2, write the phrase as an expression. Let x represent the number. So we are taking 80 less than a number. So remember that number is x. We don't know that. So we're taking 80 less than this number. So x minus 80. Number 3, the quotient of a number and 2. Remember our number is x. So the quotient of x divided by 2. Moving on to number 4, evaluate the expression. X plus 4 when x equals 6. So we are plugging this 6 in for x. So we're taking 6 plus 4, which equals 10. Number 5, 22 times r, where r is equal to 3. So we're taking 22 times 3, which is 66. Alright, moving on. Properties of numbers. Determine whether the two expressions are equivalent. If so, tell which property is applied. Alright, so we're taking 48 divided by 6. Well, 48 divided by 6 is 8. 6 divided by 48, that is not 8. That's going to be like 1/8. Are those exactly the same? Nope, so these are not equivalent. Okay, moving on to number 7. 8 plus 9 plus 5 is equal to 8 plus 5 plus 9, sorry, mixed it up. Alright, so if we take a look at this, 5 plus 9, that's 14. 14 plus 8 is 22. Okay, over here, 8 plus 5 is 13. 13 plus 9 is also 22. So these are equivalent, but what property did we use? Looks like we're changing the order of our grouping of parentheses. So this is the associative property. Oh man, C-I-A-T. Forgot how to spell it for a second. Associative property. Moving on to number 18. This time we have 17 times 1 equals 17. 17 times 1 is 17, so 17 does equal 17. And if you remember, this is called the identity property. Awesome, moving on to number 9. 0 plus 14 equals 14. Well, 0 plus 14 is 14, so 14 does equal 14. And remember, this is also the identity property. There's 2 different ones. Oops. There's one for addition and there's one for multiplication. Moving on to number 10, use the distributive property to rewrite each expression. Alright, so remember to use the distributive property. It's like creating your rainbow. You're taking 8 times x plus 8 times 1. So 8 times x plus 8 times 1. 8 times x is just 8x. Plus 8 times 1 is 8. So that's your answer. Moving on to number 11. 3 times 3x plus 6. Again, you're distributing that 3 to both the 3x and to the 6. So 3 times 3x plus 3 times 6. 3 times 3x is 9x plus 3 times 6 is 18. Moving on to simplifying algebraic expressions. Number 12, we have 7f plus 3 plus 4f. So this is where you highlight which ones you can combine. This 7f could combine with the 4f. So we're taking 7 plus 4, which is 11f. And then we still have this plus 3, so add it right on. Moving on to number 13. This time we have 9x plus 4 minus x plus 8. So we have a 9x minus an x. So those two go together. That's really like 9x minus 1x, which gives us 8x. Now change your colors of the highlighter because now we have plus 4 and plus 8. Well, 4 plus 8 is a plus 12 on the end. Moving on to number 14, this time we have the distributive property, 7 times d plus 4 plus 10. Since this 7 is being multiplied to the whole parentheses, you need to take 7 times d plus 7 times 4. So 7 times d plus 7 times 4. And then we still have the plus 10 on the end. 7 times d is 7d plus 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 10, what could we combine? We could combine the 28 plus the 10. We get 7d plus 28 plus 10 is 38. Awesome. Moving on to equations and solutions. Determine which number is a solution to the equation. 7 plus x equals 16. We have 2, 9, and 23. So let's try them all. 7 plus 2, that equals 9. So that doesn't work. 7 plus 9, that does equal 16. So 9 is our answer. Because 7 plus 23 is too big, that would be 30. Fabulous. Number 16. X divided by 4 is equal to 8, so let's try it. 2 divided by 4 equals 1/2. That's not 8. 4 divided by 4 equals 1. That's not 8. But 32 divided by 4 does equal 8, so 32 is your answer. Alright, now we're moving on to solving equations. Number 17, a plus 52 equals 173. Remember to draw your line. We want this a by itself, so we need to minus 52 from both sides so that our 52's cancel out. We're left with just a. 173 minus 52. 3 minus 2 is 1. 7 minus 5 is 2. And then we have the 1. A equals 121. Moving on to number 18, draw your line. G minus 27 equals 46. We want G by itself, so we need to move this minus 27 by adding it to both sides. So they cancel out. We're just left with G. 6 plus 7 is 13. 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7, so 73. Moving on to number 19. 8, remember this is times r, is equal to 96. The opposite of times is to divide, so divide both sides by 8. Our 8's cancel, we're left with just r. 96 divided by 8, I want to say that's 12. Let's double check. 8 fits inside 9 one time, subtract. Oops, 9 minus 8, we get 1, bring down our 6. Yes, it is 12. And you can use a calculator for this test. Just FYI. Moving on to number 20, we have w divided by 31 equals 186. Remember, we want this w by itself. So the opposite of divide is to multiply, so we're going to times both sides by 21. Our 30, oops, not 21, goodness. Should be 31. Did I confuse you? I hope not. Our 31's cancel out. We're left with just w. For this one, I will use a calculator. 186 times 31. 5,766. And that is our answer. Moving on to 21, we need to write and solve a one-step equation for the word phrase. The sum of a number and 9 is 4. So remember, sum means adding. And this number we don't know, so let's just use x. So we're taking x plus 9, and that equals 4. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit tricky because when we solve it, we'd minus 9 from both sides. X would give you a negative 5. Okay, I know we haven't talked about that, but if you type 4 minus 9 in your calculator, you would get a -5. That was a trick question. Moving on to number 22, the product of a number and 7 totals 56. So product is multiply, so we're multiplying a number, we'll just use x. So we're taking 7 times x, and that gives us a total of 56. Now we need to solve. We divide both sides by 7. We get x equals 8. Awesome, we are just about done. Next, we need to label the following parts of the coordinate plane: y-axis, x-axis, origin, and quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's start with the green one. This right here is called the origin. Our red axis, this is our x-axis. X-axis is horizontal, which means our vertical one is the y-axis. Okay, so we did y, x, and origin. Now we need to label the quadrants. The right one on the top is quadrant 1, moving to the left is quadrant 2, moving down is quadrant 3, and lastly, quadrant 4. Fabulous. Now we need to name the ordered pairs for each location for number 24. So Bob's house, we need to figure out what the coordinates are. Whoops, trying to zoom in, there we go. All right, so we need to start at 0, 0. How many over are we getting to go to Bob's house? 4, that's our x value. How many up are we going to get to Bob's house? Right, we're going up 1. So 4, 1 is your answer. All right, moving on to number 25. This time we're doing the toy store. So we start at 0, 0 again. We are moving 1, 2, 3 over. So that's your first one. And we are moving 1, 2, 3 up. So 3, 3. Awesome, we have 2 problems left. Make an input-output table for the following using the function rule, and then graph the function. All right, so we have x plus 7. So we are going to plug all of these numbers in for x. Okay, so our first one is 0 plus 7. We just get 7. 1 plus 7 gives us 8. 2 plus 7 gives us 9. 3 plus 7 gives us 10. So now we just need to graph that. 0, 7, so moving over 0, up 7. 1, 8, over 1, up 8. 2, 9, and 3, 10. And then draw your line. Awesome. Moving on to number 27, y equals 2x plus 5. So again, we're plugging these numbers in for x. So we are taking 2 times 0 plus 5. 2 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 5 is 5. 2 times 1 plus 5, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 plus 5 gives you 7. Next, 2 times 2 plus 5, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 plus 5 is 9. And lastly, 2 times 3 plus 5, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 5 is 11. So now let's graph it. Our first one is 0, 5. Our next one is 1, 7. Our next one is 2, 9. And then 3, 11. Now go ahead and graph that, and we are done. Alright, if you have questions over any of this, please let me know so that I can help you before you take your test. I hope you have a fabulous rest of the day. Bye!